So here we do not have pet emu. We have breeding emu. So they're going to challenge me. So this kind of goes along with the emu wrangling and just kind of teaching them who's boss. Because these guys will constantly do this until they learn their lesson. And even then, when they do learn their lesson, they will start challenging me again within a couple weeks because they have a very short memory and they always think they're the boss. So, whenever I go into my pen to check for eggs or do feed or anything really, I have my wrangling stick. So this is just a longer paint roller, and then that's where your paint roller would actually be. I pull that off and it's a really stiff metal, and it's perfect for giving them a little push, or if they're really challenging me and I need to teach them a lesson, I can hook them around the neck and I can gain control of them. And I do that not only in egg laying season when they need to learn a little lesson, but I also do that when I'm wrangling them, because if you try to grab an emu to move them, you might get it. If you miss that first time, they ain't gonna let you get close again. But with the stick, I can get them at a, pretty good distance. They can't get away from me. I hook it around their neck. I bring it down to the base and I can kind of pull them down, and then I can walk inward or even pull them inward, and then I can get behind them and get on them and pick them up and move them or pull them along to wherever I want to walk them along to. Most people can't do that because, I don't know, most people can't pick up a big old emu and move them around, but I do. Most of you guys ain't gonna be able to do that. We're just gonna do a little look, and if these two mean old females keep trying to challenge me, I'll give you a little idea on what I do. So, North Dakota, we get very, very cold. And my guys don't like shelter. My last pen had shelter, they didn't use it at all. So I just went away from that altogether. All they really like is windbreak. So when I pile up enough bales, I get a good windbreak, and that's all they want. They can go around each side of it and tuck in and be protected. These guys, 2 years ago, we were negative 40, 50 with windshield for 4 days in a row. And I thought everything would die because I had other farm animals dying from the cold that were inside of buildings. And these guys were just fine. The main thing is, when it's really cold out, is to not do your egg hunt and not bother them. They hunker down, they have nothing to protect their legs, so they just flop down on all those feathers, keep them nice and warm. If you go in and disturb them and you make them get up and start moving, that's when they have a problem. So whenever it's really cold out and you see them hunker down, don't even go in there, just leave them alone. They'll be fine. They'll keep their legs protected. They'll stay nice and warm no matter what the weather is, until it warms up again. And you're going to keep asking for it here, aren't you? But then with that, they don't put the eggs exactly where I want them. They'll try to tuck them up underneath some bales, and that's where my wrangling stick. Here we go. There we go. Come on. Settle down. Settle down. Yeah. You don't want none no more, do you? Trust me, people. That wasn't enough. So that's one time. So we got a change in demeanor here. But that one time wasn't good enough. I guarantee she'll be back here before I'm done talking to you. Usually I got to hold them down a little bit more. I was going to lose my camera, and I don't want to lose my camera. If I have two hands on the stick, I would have pulled down a little bit more on the neck and brought them down a little bit lower, and then I would have been able to kind of slide around to the side and get behind and just kind of plop down on their back there and hold them down. And then they really don't like that. If I hold them down for a good couple minutes, then they really don't like me, and they will not challenge me for at least 2 weeks. I might get a month if I'm lucky, and then I'll have to do it all over again. But like I said, mine are not pets. Mine are for breeding only. So I do not want any of these emu to be bonded to me, because if they're bonded to me, they will not be breeding and producing eggs like they should. So that's one of the big things. One of the hard things I had to learn, because I like pets and I like to turn every farm animal into a pet. But early on, I realized I was making a mistake when doing that, because then all my nice little boy emu were all bonded to me, and they didn't want nothing to do with any of the females. So if you want eggs, you want to raise chicks, don't let your emu bond to you. Don't turn them into pets. Let them be emu. Now we're back in the trouble corner. Oh. And like I was talking about, my stick doubles because I can easily comb through this hay, and if I hit a little egg, I'll get a nice little ting, and I know I got an egg there. So this is the best tool I've ever made. Super simple. Go to your local hardware store, get the longest paint stick you can get the paint roller, pull the roller part off, and you got this nice hard wire that you can easily hook emu with. When I got started, all the people that did emu for, ever, all told me, you can't do that. There's nothing that works. I mean, I don't know. I've done everything they say it doesn't work, and I've made it work better than anything else. So this works wonders for finding eggs, keeping the emu back, a little tap on the butt. The hard ones that you got to really teach a lesson to, you can easily do that. But then also when it's time to move them around, you can easily hook one and gain control of them pretty quick without working them up too much and having them run around and get banged up on the fence and injured like that for an hour while you're trying to run around with a couple people catching them. I can do it all by myself in no time at all. But see, even just small square bales like this make a good windbreak. So this was what's left over from last year. This was just the small 50-pound square bales lined up. I had it, two bales high, and that was one of the favorite nesting spots. They preferred the smaller one versus the bigger ones. I mean, same thing over in this corner. You can see the remnants, what's left of last year's smaller square bales. Just having a line like this with a couple kickouts, basically a big old capital C. They just find little areas around that where the wind wasn't getting them, and that's where they preferred to kind of bed down and to do their egg laying versus the big ones that give them more protection. Granted, they still do it around there, and you'll still get random spots all over the place, but for the most part, they'll find the main area and put the eggs down. We're a little early in the season this year for 2024. I've gotten a few eggs so far, but I really won't start getting a bunch until Christmas time. But I know everyone's either doing it in the southern areas or are getting ready to now in the northern areas, and people keep asking me. So a little bit of this insight. I will get into feeders and waterers coming up. Thank you.